Nautilus.
I'm not sure if Nautilus was a good choice on the bot lane, because if Karma picks Guardian plus Exhaust, I mean,
Yeah.
even only one Exhaust, then he's gonna be useless in all-in potential. And yeah, I mean, it depends on him, because I think SeolHaeOne Prince, they still have such a great draft. They have fine top side matchup as well, and Nidalee is one of the great jungler nowadays, and it should be like them using early game Priors pretty well, or just lose slowly like Hana Live Esports. So yeah, they prepared pretty well balanced draft, but it's because they're playing against DRX. It can be really hard at the same time, because
Absolutely.
as we saw, Hana Live Esports, they failed to snowball against Gen G. So let's see if they can do it against DRX.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they're going to bring into here, as I'm always a little bit sad when Keria plays the very supportive supports, like a Karma or something. There's a little bit less chance for him to really pop off. As we all know, I love to see the Keria pop-off moments. Very mechanically skilled support. As let's see how this one does go. The Renekton V5 comes in. A great ball carrier. It's going to help Orianna with all of that, and provides a little bit of a front line. So it's not just the all-ranged DRX comp that we've been seeing a little bit here in recent times. They mix it up with the Renekton.
And yeah, look at that. Normally when you're playing as Ashe, even though you're even though when you're playing Ezreal, you take cleanse, right?
Yeah.
But this guy, he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, I have Keria.
It's true.
And it's the meta to just build Mikhail's first item on support position right now, so it's understandable. We already saw how fast his reaction is last game when DRX played it. I didn't feel like Ashe's ulti is existing in that game, you know?
Yeah, it's Ashe eventually, once people get QSSs and Mikhails, and if they have cleanse, a lot of that power from that ultimate can disappear. And you saw that Flawless actually win Futures Market in this game. Not something you see very often.
Yeah.
Just trying to hit those item spikes a little bit earlier. Get the better backs with that kind of a rune.
Great positioning.
Remember Kleptomancy?
Oh, yeah. I miss that.
Yeah. Me too.
Because I like to gamble.
Exactly. It was like a little mini game, you know,
yeah,
within the game. So I mean, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I like to play poker, so when there was a Kleptomancy, I was trying to use it on every single support champions, you know.
There you go. It you know, support or top or Ezreal or we had a lot of Kleptomancy users back then. Times have changed. Now we just get Conqueror Ezreal every game.
There was some little tempo coming in after Conqueror got nerfed on this patch, but eventually just Conqueror Ezreal seems quite better if you're good at hitting some skill shots, and it's definitely understanding that Deft and Ruler is taking that because they are just great Ezreal player in the world.
Yep, you can see Deft is just casually 9-1, whereas this is actually Chovy's first time playing Orianna and Pyosik's first time playing Kindred this season. So interesting to see there as Pyosik is getting aggressive in the enemy jungle. Has a ward down, sees the Nidalee. It's going to go aggressive here as Flawless is going to not be happy with this one. Will have to flash the wall. Not 100% sure if Pyosik had to flash there, but was really trying to force Flawless to get out of there.
Oh, wait.
As I think maybe he missed his flash. It's not on cooldown, and Nidalee's is.
I mean, he always got the blue buff fight.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. He's ahead on CS as well.
Wait a second. Interesting.
All that work just to trade flashes and not get the blue buff anyway. Not exactly ideal. As a little bit of an engage down here, exhausts going to be used on both sides. Tons of damage being thrown into the SeolHaeOne Prince bottom side by the Ezreal. We do have a fight going on for this, over here. Flawless Smite is on cooldown though as Keria gets the redemption, thankfully. If he didn't have that, wouldn't have been very happy as Chovy just laughs at the spear going wide. And if redemption was not there, Keine would have had to flash away, but didn't have to at the end of the day.
I guess he's a great Zoe player.
Yes, very good.
Up redemption at level 4. I tried Zoe in solo queue and I couldn't get a bubble until like, okay.
Whoa, that was a quick flash out of Keria. Really fantastic reaction time, and Keine just uses his teleport to come down here, and it's not a total waste because Zoe, of course, picks up the flash, and he's going to be super fast, so he's going to get to mid lane pretty much on time anyway, but he also helps his bottom lane get a nice back at the same time.
It was really needed because their bot lane was getting crashed by Azure Karma. And okay,
that was GLP.
Yeah.
He's rolling pretty well. Kaine's pretty good at this champion. Speaking of gambling.
Yeah. And it seems like ikssu is having a hard time on this kind of fine matchup. And some people can say this is good matchup for Gnar. In the early game especially. But he's losing CS. Already losing almost 2 waves. And this is such a great start from Doran. And it feels like DRX is really depends on their topside performance because their bot lane is always fine. And their mid is also always fine. But their jungler is shaky. And also topside. But if one of the player can be consistent.
Ooh. Don't know about that trade though. Iksu's getting so many free autos, chasing you down the lane. Now, Renekton hadn't backed, so of course Ikssu had the better battle stats in that one. Maybe he just wanted to trade a little bit before he came back and teleported. So at the end of the day, probably understood that the trade wasn't going to go super well as well. Okay then, here we go. Dominus comes in, stun is down, but Doran is going to get in there and do a nice chunk of damage.
That was really just like meaningless trade.
Yeah, well. Speaking of trading wards here. We'll see the priority down in the bottom side. It's actually pushing into DRX right now. So with the rotation coming in from Trigger and Mia, it looks like, Pyosik just going to back away from going for that mark.
They are using Ashe correctly. Because of Kaine's TP, the matchup actually got changed. And I think DRX is not like they want to get back because this Ezreal is early game Ezreal. He just picked up the Shin and he is able to take the fight against Ashe.
Okay, here we go. No flash on a Keria. As with the exhaust is in not the best spot. Deft trying to block in the front, but the Ashe damage will be enough to take down Keria. That's first blood going over to SeolHaeOne Prince in the bottom lane.
Karma, Nautilus matchup. And that was really classic and it was really great reaction by Mia. And this is it, you know? Like, you just need to be a great tool for Nidalee when you're having a Nidalee in your jungle side. And yep, they forced Karma's flash last time with Kaine's help, and that worked out pretty well. Yeah, I mean this is just power of the Ashe as well because their laning phase is so much easier than before. Keria and Deft, they try to back out with exhausting Nidalee and healing at the right timing, but it didn't work out. And this Nidalee is really bad right now. He already got the jungle item first.
He's pretty far ahead, especially after getting that kill. So now Mia using this is going to come up here and help around the Rift Herald. You can see both sides thinking about going for it, but Flawless just going to hop the wall, actually. And
Yeah.
so Mia not going to go for it just yet.
I think it's because of the top side tempo.
Yes.
Gnar is just losing so damn hard against Renekton, so
Yeah.
it will be DRX's header, and I don't think they really want to let this happen when Nidalee is just strongest point right now, but they're actually giving up, just going for the Drake. This is really sad situation for this little Puma.
Yeah. And I guess it's showing the power of the Renekton, too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, winning that lane this hard certainly makes it so that ikssu's pretty much not going to do a great job. And again, you know, we talk about champions, but we also have to talk about mashups, right? I think it is a pretty big mismatch up on the top side, Doran versus ikssu, and that's certainly helping out the situation.
I mean,
of that
ikssu
lane.
should have some priors. I mean, he even have grass,
Yeah, well.
and it's
Oh, here we go. Engaged under the turret as from
Oh.
downtown. That was so close. Paddle stars and spears coming in from every which angle. The big rotation coming down from SeolHaeOne Prince is actually not going to net them a kill, as Deft still had his, wow, he actually stole that big Krug. He still had his flash up. And that means that he will survive. Yeah, steals the big Krug, even delays the back of Zoe. And that rotation actually turns out to be not so worth. At least Trigger was able to pick up the plate after all of that.
and
Oh, here we go. Flash available. So we're just going to be able to blow that away from Trigger. And we do have the Rift Herald available. Don't think he'll throw it down at the bottom side just yet, though.
yeah, Gnar ulti used by ikssu from laning phase when Doran did. I mean, they trade ulti, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No cleans.
Oh, those minions. That was really annoying.
Oh,
There were no minions there. Could have been a nice little follow-up onto Chovy, but he just flashes away. Still going to be an effective gank.
and yeah, I mean, I think it's still fine for SeolHaeOne Prince because they are the one who actually cycled the Drake first, and their top side is losing pretty hard in CS, but he didn't get a solo kill yet, right? And also the tower plate is still new, so I think everything is still fine unless DRX can snowball with this header, because they can definitely use this as a just to make it have some gold efficiency, right? They just need some gold lead, and I think it can be on the mid lane because it's Orianna against Zoe.
Oh boy. Well, here we go. The portal jump not going to totally avoid that damage, as even Karma is going to pick up the kill. Keria gets there on time, and the Mantra Q, second part of it, explodes in the face of Keine.
Yeah, they needed to make a play, and I said it's really needed from mid lane because it's Orianna versus Zoe, and it happened. How smart are they?
Yeah, they made it work. It's a good play for sure. And Pyosik, he would love to get that Pyosik, that mark, but it's not going to happen. This one will be Triggers.
Because of the tempo. It's all about tempo.
Orianna backing. You see Keria and Deft prioritizing, pushing out their bottom side. As there's actually a ward that spots them. It's right below where they are right now. So Keria doesn't know that he's actually known to be in there. The exhaust comes in, and ikssu comes in trying to help out. That is one dead Pyosik, but he may have saved Keria after all of this. As Doran waiting in the wings. Doesn't exactly work out. Deft is trying to go 1v3 over here, by the way. Nearly takes out Mia, who is going to run away, and Chovy decides, well, actually I'm just going to stay mid, as the Rift Herald also not getting very much value, as it's just going to be plopped down, and it totally denied So somehow today, we saw earlier on today, Gen G were struggling in Game 1 against Helm of Life, and now DRX, not the cleanest start here against SeolHaeOne Prince in Game 1.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, their play is not cleaned up at all. They didn't check all the flank wards behind them. So they just let them free TP from Gnar. I mean, everything was just so basic from SeolHaeOne Prince, you know? It was not something that is just special coming out from SeolHaeOne Prince. They're just doing their jobs. Just look at the wards behind. They had 2 wards.
Yeah.
And also their mid lane is pushing mid lane. And also their top side was getting the wave under the turret. So everything was not organized at all. And they were just looking for the random play that they shouldn't look for. And this is really disappointing, the game plan from DRX right there.
Yeah, definitely a bit sloppy. The communication wasn't there, so something to work on for sure. Perhaps they can take this game to heart and prepare for their playoff run. As we do have Pyosik going for the dragon. As Chovy, oh man, he's gonna get nailed with a giant spear. Flawless, thinking about not going in, not sure why. As, okay, there you go. Finally goes in, picks up the kill, pretty free onto Chovy, who had no flash, and that means that Pyosik has to back away. That's the Mountain Drake to SeolHaeOne Prince.
Oh,
this game is falling apart.
Yeah, and especially it's from the flawless as well. Like, he's making all the plays actively. And yeah, I mean, this is the Nidalee that we really need to see.
Oh, that was that was so close. Oh man. Split second later on the dash. On the little hop that Kindred has, and you're dead meat for sure.
And yeah, I mean, eventually the game is accelerating pretty rapid from SeolHaeOne Prince.
Yeah.
I mean, the CS difference is still there from mid lane and top lane. But they're making play as a team, you know, that's the point. And yeah, that was just great spear. I think he's double checking it, you know, because he want to be sure, like he want to be 100% guaranteed play. And yeah, it worked out pretty well. And it's one of the poke comp as well from Zoe and Nidalee. And even Ashe's ulti. He's building an Essence Reaper, so he can use it for poke.
Yeah, we got boomerangs too, every once in a while. Not that much, as he's mostly just going to be split pushing. Doran trying to get in there. There's the Dominus. Gnar finally making his way in. And once again, it's probably a trade they've done, you know, 2 or 3 times already. A couple times off camera. Just ikssu trading aggressively, Doran responding, and then ikssu responding with his own ultimate, as he's still got a full rage bar. He's going in there thinking about it, but here's okay.
The CDR is just so fast.
Nailed him.
It's only 75 seconds on the Ashe's ulti. So I think that's the benefit of the Essence Reaver build. And they're actually using it correctly. Pyosik pinging the mark, but it's already gone by ikssu. Oh.
Oh, this is not good news for ikssu. He's going to get slowed down. And there's that extra damage coming out of Pyosik. Look at Doran struggling to get into this fight. He's really unsure. There it is. That's a perfectly timed Gnar ultimate as ikssu shuts him down. Just denies the 2 DRX members. Oh, man, that was perfectly timed as well. Gotta give it to him. And SeolHaeOne Prince showed up to play tonight.
They are actually really greedy. Doran had a flash right there, and ikssu didn't. And
wow, this is pretty aggressive. They're going to trade flashes, though, so it's definitely worth it to get that flash out of the very immobile Orianna.
And yeah, eventually they're getting all the objectives and all the resources that they can get because they're strong enough to take the fight. They're not afraid at all. And all the map control is just for Seren Prince right now, and DRX, I think they're just having a no game plan. It feels like just looking for the random plays and not using a flash at the right moment. He's really focused.
Yeah.
Not saying at all.
Cool.
잡았어. 나 쨘다. 나 빠질 거야 얘들아. 오케이.
I got them. I'm gonna back out. That's all he said.
Yeah. And yeah, he's pretty strong right now, 2-0-1. He's really far behind on CS though. He's down a good 45 CS on the Renekton at this point in time. So, a bit unfortunate for him there. And if you look at the gold, there isn't this massive gap, right? It's still relatively even there. And so, you know, we're talking about these plays and we're saying, oh man, DRX, this is really not going well. It's because we expect a bit more from the way that they're playing. But as you're mentioning, it's not quite DRX level. It's like they prepared the correct bans and stuff. Maybe the coach had his head on straight, but the players today maybe not focusing and playing as a team as much as they would prepare up against a stronger team.
I mean, even look at the rotation, you know? I mean, it's okay to trade it, I guess, this time around. But it feels like Seren Prince, they're not like following them. They're making their own plays. And they're not putting many mans on the one situation. They are splitting and not wasting that much of CSs. Then that would be more better because still, yeah, we can see from the gold that because of the CS difference, there is not huge gap between those two teams, but obviously the map control wise, Seren Prince is just having so much easier game, and they even got the 3 stacks on Drake, just clean Drake against DRX.
Yeah.
As a 10th place team, by the way.
Yeah, it's impressive what they're able to do here. It does look like a different team. SeolHaeOne Prince seem extremely focused and came prepared to play tonight, that's for sure.
I mean, they're not fighting 24/7 for no reason. They're taking the fight at the right time, at the right place. So I think that is just making the huge difference between like old SeolHaeOne to new SeolHaeOne this time.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and it's refreshing. It's good to see.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely it's nice stuff. I think that there are still some issues for the side of SeolHaeOne Prince. Chovy is quite fed, and we haven't really had a 5-on-5 team fight yet. There's been a lot of skirmishing in this early game. We're here at 22 minutes. Yes, a lot of Drakes did go the way of SeolHaeOne Prince, but at the same time, it is the Cloud Soul. And, I mean, that one mountain is really going to help, actually, because they're actually building a decent amount of resistances across the board. But it'll be interesting to see if DRX can pull this one out, as Pyosik is over the wall, and he's getting teleported on now. Has to flash away. A flash for a teleport, a flash and an ult for a teleport, I suppose, is going to be the trade here, as Doran still has his, and he's still pushing the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's only Seren Prince who used TP, so they're gonna get controlled in the side lane. And it's Doran pushing bot lane. And yeah, DRX, they soaked it pretty well. Yeah. With Doran's aggressive play. He just face checked and just dashing forward on Nidalee when they have no vision at all. But it's because that's Kindred. Who is face checking, so that's completely fine. And then it's actually slowly working out. They're just slowing the game down, and that's what they needed to do that. Because at this point they're kind of behind, right? So they just need to farm a little bit more before they can take the 5v5.
Oh, Chovy. Oh boy, Flawless is, he's in the shop or something. Redemption comes in, is going to miss Chovy at least. Nice amount of damage. You can see Deft, he's hitting his spike now. He's got his 2 items. The Murmana is complete.
Oh, yeah.
So we've seen Deft do some insane things on Ezreal. We'll see what he can do here in this mid game, as it really has slowed down after the fiery SeolHaeOne Prince early game.
I feel like SeolHaeOne Prince, they can accelerate the game a little bit more because there is top tower, and after them getting mid priority, I think they should just push up to the top side to get the free gold on the top side. But that is not happening. So I guess that's kind of because of them not having a great experience when they have the lead, I guess. Because that top turret is so free. Like, it could be free like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But it is not happening on the top side, so that's kind of sad thing from SeolHaeOne Prince. But
down it goes.
Oh, the minions!
Good work, minions. You've got your head on straight.
Yeah, League of Minions.
Yeah.
Another SeolHaeOne's members.
I think you're right about the fact that, you know, they don't have much experience in this situation, right? So they're kind of just like, okay, guys, we're ahead, and
yeah, what should they do now?
yeah, what should we do? Like, should we do Baron? You saw they were like kind of like awkwardly hanging around the Baron too. It's like, no, you guys can't just like run down the Baron. And, you know, they could just be trying to farm it out and wait for the Cloud Soul, which it seems like that's what eventually is going to happen. But there definitely were ways, as you were highlighting, to be more proactive in the mid-game and try to find extra leads to try to push ahead even farther from ahead.
And I think from now on, I think DRX is not going to back out because they have enough items to take the fight.
Yeah, they're not weak anymore.
Yeah, I mean, because SeolHaeOne Prince, they gave time to DRX, so they are controlling mid lane first and getting the Drake vision.
Uh-oh. Little bit of a skirmish there. That's a nice bubble onto the Renekton. Dominus has to come out as huge ultimate coming out there from Mia. The depth charge gets in. Chovy, as Trigger flashes forward into this ultimate, does a huge amount of damage, but he can't finish them off as the front line of Godzilla. Doran returns as he is going to be able to zone them all away. So many low health bars, though, on the side of his team. Chovy with the blue buff, you see, he's going to stick around as long as he doesn't get in range. He can do this. And so while Ashe did an insane amount of damage, still it was a 2-for-1 in favor of DRX, in fact.
It's Soul Point, and it feels like DRX, they really don't really want to give up this Drake right now. They're forcing it.
Yeah. And SeolHaeOne Prince, they're coming in here pretty late. We'll see what happens. The smite comes in.
Gamble.
Yeah, Nidalee not quite able to get on in there, so they steal the Cloud Drake away.
Gamble walked out. And I felt like SeolHaeOne Prince, they could just try it. But they didn't. And also, the fight was fine for SeolHaeOne Prince, I feel like, because the shockwave was on Gargoyle played Nautilus. And
yeah, that was...
Trigger, I think he could just play a little bit slower because, yeah, I mean, Renekton was just on the front lane as alone. So I thought SeolHaeOne Prince has a great chance, but they had to split it fight and they are trying Nashor right now.
Yeah, they're just doing the Baron. They do have a pretty insane amount of damage. DRX dilly-dallying, they're not going to get in here. Where is Pyosik? He's here now. And the Baron will go their way as Mia gets out with the buffer dredge line. And that is just highway robbery. It's 5-on-5. They go in, take the Baron, and nobody dies? That's not really supposed to happen.
SeolHaeOne Prince right now, they are not afraid. That's the point. They are keep trying. And yeah, I mean, I like that they're, after the team fight, that they should have win that fight. Like, they're still... Okay, it doesn't matter. That was just a hiccup. We just go Nashor and force a fight. Or just get the free Nashor. And that worked out. And I think DRX, they are kind of disrespecting the enemy, I guess. Because obviously there was a chance that they can just go for the Nashor. But there was a zero vision on it. So I guess SeolHaeOne Prince, they just tried in a pretty great timing. And as you mentioned, if they group as 5 DRX, they still have a great team comp, right? But I think when it comes to the poke war, Turan Prince has a great chance because there is Ashe ulti, Zoe's poke, and there's the fat Nidalee in the mix as well. So I think it's going in such a great spot.
Doran, pretty awkward spot here, but he's that Renekton with tons of farm, so he's quite tanky actually at this point in time. I think he picked up Black Cleaver. And yeah, the Baron push is trying to come in here from SeolHaeOne Prince, but they haven't been able to take down anything just yet. Only a minute 30 left. Trying to poke them down with as much as DRX have in their comp right now. It's kind of going okay.
Oh, the rotation is coming from SeolHaeOne Prince, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they're chilling here in the mid lane, trying to poke down as much as possible, use that poke advantage they have, but not really finding an opening just yet.
Yeah, I think it's pretty rough to get the inhibitor turret with the first Nashor, but I guess they're trying.
Yeah, it's a pretty early Baron in this game, so it is understandable. They're not that far ahead as they're trying to CC chain and they get him. Pyosik frontlining gets punished for it as Mia trying to get punished himself there. Doran trying to put him in his place, but now with no jungler and no Kindred ultimate, they're just going to have to back away off that inhibitor and down it will go. SeolHaeOne Prince in control of this game.
The decisiveness from SeolHaeOne Prince is just so amazing. And yeah, as I mentioned, getting the inhibitor with the first Nashor is pretty rough because it's quite all in the game with Nashor to get an inhibitor for free, but they just knew that they are stronger and they just pulled the trigger. That's what they needed for a long time. Even though they had the advantage, they didn't know how to pull the trigger, and they just let the time to have a free late game against great teams. But right now, SeolHaeOne Prince, I don't think they're thinking about the teams right now. They are just taking the fight. No one is afraid.
Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be much pressure on their team, right? There's, you know, they are 1-15 at the moment, so this is when you can play the most free, right? It's like, well, we don't have much to fight for. There's no relegations, right? We're fighting for pride. We're fighting to show a good game, and that's when you can play freely, not be nervous, and just throw everything you've got into the game, and they're certainly showing that here. So it's nice to see. Doran gonna get caught out. Dominus has to be used. The knockup comes in as the spear triggers the Kindred ultimate to save him, and this Cloud Drake should be SeolHaeOne Prince's. You can see that the Renekton is gonna have to go back. Now he does have TP, so there is potential to try to take the fight by DRX afterwards.
It's not TP flank, so I'm not sure if they can land a great team fight, but they got the Cloud Soul.
Yeah, they're really fast now.
And yeah, it's pretty sad that that was not an Elder Drake from SeolHaeOne Prince, because they could get the Cloud Drake before.
Yeah. Giving this one to Deft.
And yeah, it really depends on Deft and Chovy's team fight. And I think that's the only chance that DRX can win, because Renekton is not a great team fighter, you know, when it comes to team fight, especially in the late game.
Yeah.
You're just such a great sandbag.
Yeah,
or
pretty much.
enemy AD carry, you know?
You're a soaker at this point, you know. It's unless you get like the perfect flank and you get into the back line.
Oh yeah, just one shot your
then
enemy
you
AD
can,
carry.
yeah, exactly. So that's really all Renekton is at this point in time, which is why when LCK used to go every single game to around this time, we weren't the biggest fans of Renekton, as Chovy in a little bit of an awkward spot here. He's going to get that shockwave in, though. The stone plate is going to help out entirely, as does the aftershock, just to make sure that Mia will survive. Massive heals coming in from Nidalee as well, by the way. The amount of utility that this champion brings is not to be underestimated, especially because Flawless was so fed in this game. As, okay, here we go. We're just doing the Baron again. No hesitation. To the wall goes Keine, trying to get that vision. Pyosik is in the front line, and he is so low, but he's going to try to force it here as the shields do come in, but the stun and the kill down onto that jungler. You see Doran, he's looking for the angle. The bubble goes on a Deft, as does the spear, and the Renekton is all alone, but he's quite strong, actually, as there's a turret in the backside. That is the Zoe, just shoveling damage into the backline of DRX, and there's not much they can do. The Renekton gets kited, and SeolHaeOne Prince are going to win game 1 against DRX. This was the least of anyone's expectations coming into this match, Wadid.
What is happening? It's a 10th place SeolHaeOne Prince, but they played like they are top 5 teams or something. Their decisiveness was on point, and they're not hesitating anything. They just pull the trigger at the right timing, at the right moment.